120 star is the longest category in Super Mario 64, where the objective is to collect every single star and beat the game as fast as possible. The 120 star world record is a 136.21, so due to its length, runners practice each stage individually in an attempt to improve speed and consistency. The stage RTA leaderboard hosts times from every stage in SM64, each housing its own extensive history. But maybe the most interesting of them is the last stage in the game. Not because of its difficulty, but because of one infamous trick. This is the insane history of Rainbow Ride. Like any other speedrun, players can submit their PBs to a leaderboard named the Stage RTA Leaderboard. RTA stands for Real-Time Attack, which doesn't tell you much from the name. Essentially, an RTA is a run that's completed from start to finish in real time. This can range from an entire speedrun segment
Try hard. No!
to a level in a game itself. Rainbow Ride holds 6 normal stars and a 100 coin star. The stars are labeled as missions, and the first mission is called Cruiser Crossing the Rainbow. The standard route to get to this star begins with a triple jump wall kick on this rotating platform, then you make your way up the red coin maze. Once up there, do a long jump and 2 wall kicks to get on the falling platforms, and then another long jump to ledge grab on the other falling platforms. After that, just do a double jump and a long jump to the star and grab it with a ground pound. Mission 3 is named Coins Amassed in a Maze. Like the name suggests, instead of going past the coin maze like Mission 1, you grab all the coins in the maze and collect the star. The next mission is called Swingin' in the Breeze. This star is different from the rest. Instead of doing the triple jump wall kick, you kick and long jump down to the pole. After landing, you long jump, ledge grab, do 3 long jumps, a side flip wall kick, and a triple jump off the fire spitter to grab the star and skip the swing. Tricky Triangles is the 5th mission and the shortest of the 6, starting with a triple jump wall kick, into a jump to the left, and 2 consecutive long jumps to ledge grab the falling platform. After ledge grabbing, you do 2 long jumps, triple jump, a side flip dive rollout, and a long jump to grab the star. The last star is called Somewhere Over the Rainbow, where you do the exact same movement as Mission 1, but this time instead of grabbing the star, you enter the cannon on the back of the ship, line it up, and shoot to the box for the final star. Well, that would be the case if I didn't skip over Mission 2, the big house in the sky. This star is by far the longest star in SM64, because the only way to access it is by riding the carpet, which is essentially a 2-minute unskippable cutscene. Fortunately, the ride has 20 coins to collect, so it's optimal to get 80 coins and then ride the carpet to spawn and grab the star during the cutscene. After grabbing the 100 coin star, you ride to the top of the house, where you can grab the real final star. Now that you understand all of the stars, we can start from the beginning. On July 16th, 2011, Honey completed the first recorded Rainbow Ride RTA with a time of 6:17.34. This run is as simple as it gets, doing all of the aforementioned strategies with a few mistakes on re-entry and some slow routing on 100 coin. Nonetheless, it's pretty solid for the first run. Just a month later, Honey would use his stage RTA skills in a full run, where he would claim the 70-star world record and then beat his own time 9 days later. Honey wouldn't stop there though, because on October 1st, he'd really put his skills to the test, claiming the world record in 120 star. Unfortunately, both of these times would be beaten relatively quickly, but that didn't discourage him, as on March 2nd, 2012, Honey would have one of the greatest days of Super Mario 64 speedrunning ever. First, he'd take the 120 record from Seglemik, beating him by 5 seconds with a 147.05. After that run, he'd try his luck at 70 star as well, where he'd get the first verified run under 50 minutes, claiming 2 world records in 1 day. Unfortunately, that would be his last main category world record, but it wouldn't be the last we see of Honey. With some new developments in Rainbow Ride, Honey would come back and try to beat his old record. The biggest of these time saves comes with Lakitu Bounce, a strategy where instead of going all the way around to get the cruiser, you can do a triple jump wall kick to bounce on Lakitu and make it to the pole, saving around 10 seconds per star for a total of 20 seconds saved. Unfortunately, on his second bounce he lost some time, but Honey's optimizations did not stop there. He saved time on tricky triangles by wall kicking on the rotating platform to the left rather than jumping past it, saving a second or two in the process. Repeating the same movement as tricky triangles, he long jumps to the right, saving another 2 to 3 on swinging in the breeze. Lastly, he did a much faster 100 coin, and destroyed his old world record on August 20th, 2012, with a time of 5:57.95. After this, nobody would chase the record for the next 3 years, but that didn't matter because Tassers were about to discover something that would absolutely destroy Rainbow Ride and 120-star speedruns forever. On January 30th, 2013, Snark posted a tool-assisted speedrun of the Big House in the Sky that completely skipped the carpet, using something called hands-free. I'm not going to go over all of it, but basically when you re-grab a bomb while it's exploding, and then drop it and re-grab it again, you will be able to jump and ground pound while the bomb is in front of Mario, pushing you back without exploding. After entering hands-free, Snark makes his way to the warp, which gets rid of the bomb from Mario's hands, but still keeps pushing him back, allowing him to do side flips and wall kicks while the bomb is giving him speed. After warping, he sets himself up for 2 extremely precise wall kicks and makes it all the way on top of the Big House in the Sky, leading people to give it the name carpetless. With this discovery, it sparked memes and discussion in the community, but everyone came to the conclusion that carpetless was too hard to be done in RTA or even single-star runs. This wouldn't have any effect on stage RTAs, and we'd have to wait till April 25th, 2015, when Pobo set a new world record of 5:56.52, beating Honey by about a second. This run was pretty solid, with small time losses on each star, but still, it was enough for a new record. In the midst of this record, there was a new Lakitu bounce found in 2014 that saves around 6 seconds total, and Pobo decided not to do it. So with that time save, it was clear the record could be taken down under 550, but who would have the skill to do so? In the spring of 2016, one runner would take the world record in 16, 1, and 70 star, but these records don't exactly translate well to full stage RTAs. However, he had something most 120 runners didn't, the new Lakitu bounce. This bounce is different because instead of wall kicking like normal, you do a glitchy wall kick, which sends you the opposite way. See, Super Mario 64 runs at 30 frames per second, but on each frame there are 4 quarter frames that you can't see. So, for example, when Mario dives, it sets his speed to 48, meaning Mario moves 48 units horizontally in one frame. Because of this, Mario moves 12 units each quarter frame, adding up to 48 in one full frame. With that understanding, we can apply it to this wall kick. For example, if Mario were to hit this wall on the first quarter frame, it sets a flag in the code that says Mario will bonk after this frame ends. However, on a later quarter frame, if Mario is on a wall he normally can't wall kick on from his current angle, he will because of the flag in the code. So instead of wall kicking like normal on the wall he started on, he gets reflected the other way on the new wall. We see this because the first wall he lands on is the initial wall, and then the platform rotates to another wall, which he is then reflected on. Along with the new Lakitu bounce, he would also do a new swinging in the breeze, where instead of long jumping off of this pendulum, he side flips to make the cycle on the swing, saving another few seconds over Honey and Pobo. With obvious potential from the new time saves, it all came together on April 23rd, 2016, when the legendary Zaya got this run. With a time of 5:47.31, Zaya destroyed the standard for Rainbow Ride, getting the first ever sub 550. He made almost no mistakes, with the only time loss really coming from killing Lakitu and navigating the maze on 100 coin. If runners wanted to catch up, they would have to implement something new. So over the course of the next 2 years, players like Gothic Logic and Snowman would attempt to get carpetless with save states. But it would prove Actually, I lied. Someone did do carpetless. On July 5th, 2015, ToadFan5 would boot up his stream and do save-stated attempts at carpetless, and he actually got it. This proved carpetless could be more than just an idea. Obviously, it would take a lot more to do it without save states, but if a human did it on an original N64, then it had to be possible, right? Well, we wouldn't know until someone tried, and it seemed like no one was skilled enough to attempt it, so carpetless was deemed too hard and left as just a meme and a dream. The stage RTA record remained Zaya's until June 11th, 2018, when Paracusia used a different star order to try to get a better 100 coin than Zaya, and he did just that, beating the old record by 7/100ths of a second. Para knew this wasn't a flawless run, so about 6 months later, he went back to the old star order, and improved the record by 2 seconds with a 5:45.74. This run had some glaring flaws, and Fantax would iron them out on February 21st, 2019, with a 5:43.91. In this run, he saved time on 100 coin and used an old swinging in the breeze strategy that Honey used in his 557, except for this time he did a dive rollout long jump to save time, if he didn't burn at the end. 2 months later, Para would clean up Fantax's mistakes and beat him by another second, getting a 5:43 flat. The run was getting pretty optimized, and sub 540, while on the horizon, seemed barely possible with the current strats. But something much more important was happening outside of stage RTAs. Zaya, who had now held 4 out of the 5 world records, was about to make history once again. On May 2nd, 2019, Zaya went live on Twitch, grinding to get carpetless for the first time without save states. This stream lasted over 9 hours, and although he had some close calls, none were enough to get carpetless. The next day, he booted up the game for some offline attempts, and after just 10 minutes, he did this. With help from Snark, Zaya did it. He got the big house in the sky without riding the carpet. This was one of the greatest feats in all of Super Mario 64, but it seemed it wouldn't be possible in runs or even stage RTAs without another discovery. Nonetheless, he claimed a single star world record and made the dream a reality. The next stage RTA record wouldn't come until December 2020, when Paracusia got an almost perfect run, achieving a time of 5:41.74. It was clear no one was going to hunt this record, barring some insane new strategy. And a year and a half later, Kano would find exactly that. In July 2022, he would revisit an old task strategy from 2009 that skipped doing the butt slide for Lakitu bounce. He posted his findings on Twitter, and if a consistent setup were to be found, it would save about 6 seconds combined. Kano wanted to name this new bounce Ultimate Lakitu Bounce, but GTM suggested Assless, and after a Twitter poll, it was officially named Assless. All that was left was to find a consistent way to do it, and on August 11th, 2022, Kano made a tutorial, and people started learning it. This started a revolution of the star, and the single star record was broken 8 times in a little under a month. It didn't take long for the stage RTA record to be updated as well, when Chipgroove, the man who discovered Chip Clip, would take the record down to a 5:35.98. This run was pretty solid, with some small time losses from the Cannon Star and Reds, but with the addition of double assless, he destroyed the record. After that record, runners would start implementing assless in runs, but the next stage RTA record wouldn't happen until 2023, when a new runner would dominate the scene. Parsey started speedrunning Super Mario 64 in 2020, and throughout the years, he slowly lowered his times in each category. Although he'd never held a record, by 2022 he was regarded as one of the best in SM64, with top times in 120, 70, 16, and 0 star. But there was one thing that set him apart from the other runners. He had a special interest in Rainbow Ride. On April 3rd, 2023, Parsey claimed the Rainbow Ride record with a 534.43. He saved a lot of time by doing the triple jump pole skip and all firsties on 100 coin. However, he made a mistake on Cruiser, losing a second or two. This run wasn't perfect, and he wasn't done, so just 4 days later he cleaned it up and got a 532.26. This run was really good, with hardly any mistakes and doing the fastest strats on every star. The stage RTA record was nearly perfect, and he knew it would stand for a long time, so Parsey decided to let somebody else take the reins. Instead of moving on, Parsey did something no one imagined happening. He got carpetless in a stage RTA. It had big mistakes on 100 coin plus cannon, but he did it. And he saved almost 40 seconds over his previous world record. Parsey was pretty satisfied with this run, so he decided to try his luck at the carpetless record. This record was held by Shake in 2021 with a time of 44.37. Then in 2023, Taylor would steal the record with a 42.99. Then, in August of that year, Parsey would push the record even further, starting with a 41.62 on the 18th. 2 days later, he dropped a 41 flat, and just 3 days after that, he got a sub 40, completely destroying Zaya's record from 2019 by over 10 seconds. You'd think after such a huge accomplishment in both stage RTA and single star, he'd sit back and relax. However, he wasn't finished just yet, as on September 7th, 2023, he came back to Rainbow Ride, saving 3.5 on 100 coin and a second on carpetless, ending with a 447.52. And he kept going. Just 2 days later, he'd get a better 100 coin and end with a 443.75. Just a week after that, he almost got a flawless run, but unfortunately, he lost 2 seconds on Cruiser and ended with a 438.21. To add to his list of accomplishments, Parsey decided to try carpetless after losing a 120 star run in Rainbow Ride. And after a few attempts, he actually did it. Parsey became the first 120 runner to complete carpetless in a full run, something no one dreamed of 5 years ago. By this time, Parsey had only been playing for 3 years, and he had already made history. He was untouchable. He was the best. A few hours later, a man named Critholith would post this. He found a setup for carpetless. Critholith found that if you ledge grab on this corner in the window, get up, tap right, punch, backflip, counterclockwise crawl for a full turn, punch, kick, and triple jump with a 3-frame double jump, it sets Mario up for a glitchy wall kick. From there, you get a first frame wall kick, pause on the right frame, hold down right, and you wall kick on top of the house. This find was revolutionary, allowing all 120 runners a chance at learning carpetless, saving almost 50 seconds in 120 star. This setup, while amazing, was extremely difficult due to the fact that you have to hold a perfect value for down right to be able to get on top. Regardless, 120 runners got to work learning this new setup, but not much progress was made. Luckily, they wouldn't wait long for new developments, as a day later, Critholith dropped another bomb, a setup he dubbed Orthogonal Jones. This setup removed most of the hard parts, starting after the ledge grab. Instead of punching the wall, you kick it, then do a small crawl turn, the same triple jump, typically a 4th frame wall kick, and just 2 pauses. The first holding down and the second holding right. If you pause on the right frame, you always get up with a wall kick. So Parsey, along with everyone else, worked quickly to make Orthogonal Jones as consistent as possible. With enough practice, Parsey began his final push to lower Rainbow Ride's RTA time, and carpetless wouldn't be his only tool. On February 28, 2024, he utilized a new 100 coin strategy named after Callie, known as Callie Kill. Callie found that if you jump and ground pound the Lakitu, it allows you to spawn the 100 coin star without the need to kill the Chukya at the end, saving around 3 seconds. This, along with the new carpetless, saves 6 to 8 seconds total. So Parsey once again beat his own world record with a 4:31.5, 7 seconds faster than with the old carpetless. This run had a 2-second mistake on reds, so he could definitely improve. Oh, in the 428, Parsey decided to use a different carpetless setup, known as Orthogonal James. This setup saves 2 to 3 seconds by ledge grabbing on the other side of the window and using different pause frames. He also saves time on 100 coin, cleaned up red coins, and then messed up swinging in the breeze, losing about 2.5 seconds. He knew he could save probably another 4 seconds or so he got to work. On March 9th, he finally got the run he was looking for. It was flawless, saving all the time he had from before and more, ending with a 424.23. As of June 21st, 2024, the record stands here. Since the carpetless setup was discovered, 120 star has been improved by 1 minute and 14, and the record was and still is held by Luigi. Parsey's stage RTA is 16 seconds ahead of second place, and his record will probably stand for a long time. He's been running 120 star and recently got a 136.44, so go watch him along with everyone else in my pinned comment. These videos are tons of fun to make, and we'd like to create them more often. However, these videos require a lot to produce, so I've decided to open channel memberships as a way to support future videos. At just $3 a month, members will have their name credited at the end of videos, and you'll have access to new videos a day early. Thank you all so much for the support. We really do appreciate it. More videos coming in the future. Thank you.